Today we will be working on learning how to change a fraction to a decimal and then that decimal to a percent. Let's start by just changing the fraction from a fraction to a decimal. To change a fraction to a decimal, I wrote the directions here. It says divide the numerator by the denominator. So there's the numerator, there's the denominator. The denominator slides over, and then the numerator goes on the inside. We also talked about earlier in this year thinking about a rider on a horse. And if you think about it, the rider would be on top of the horse. So the rider would be the numerator and the horse would be the denominator. And the horse would stay outside while the rider would go inside. All right, now we ask ourselves, how many times does 2 go into 1? 0 times. Then I need to add a decimal, bring that up to the top, and then add a 0. How many times does 2 go into 10? 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. I subtract, and I get a remainder of 0, and there's no other numbers to bring down. So 1/2 as a decimal is 0.5. Any fraction you can change to a decimal by division. Next, to change a decimal to a percent, so a decimal to a percent, here are the directions. You multiply by 100. And if you multiply by 100, that moves the decimal to the right 2 times. So I'm going to copy down the 0.5, and then I'll move the decimal to the right once, twice, and you'll see there's this open number space. And in that open number space, you need to add a 0. And so now the decimal is at the end over here. So that's really 50.0, which I'm just going to write as 50. And then you have to add the percent symbol. Now 50%, let's talk for a second about what that means. And I'm going to break up the word percent into per and then cent. Cent is a Latin root meaning 100. So this really means when you're saying 50%, you're saying 50 per 100. So I'm going to now go over to the opacity and change it to a lighter color so that I can highlight. Oops, and make it a larger highlighter. And then this grid here is 10 by 10, so 10 by 10, and 10 by 10 means that there's 100 squares here. So if I were to say that 50 per 100 to represent 50%, I would color in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I'd color in half of the grid. Because 50% means 50 per every 100.